Hey guys, this is James from TeaDB bringing you InBetweenIsode number 11. And so today I'm going to actually be talking about 3 different teas, all of which are from Yunnan Sourcing. So as you guys might know, they have a ton of teas anyways. So I'm just going to knock off 3 of them right here and there. And I'm only going to brew 2 of them, but we'll talk about all 3. And so before I start, Scott of Yunnan Sourcing was kind enough to send Denny and I a nice Christmas gift of tea, of course, which was 25 to 30 samples. So big thanks to Scott over there at Yunnan Sourcing. Denny just headed off to Colombia for the next 6 weeks, so I sent him off, I split up the samples and I sent him off with a bunch of teas. So perhaps we will get some Colombia-filmed episodes of Denny drinking some of those teas. And so, as some of you have been following Yunnan Sourcing, may have seen that recently a lot of the teas that they've been adding have been Guangdong stored or stored in a wetter, more tropical climate than Kunming, where most of Yunnan Sourcing stock is stored. And so I think these teas are interesting for a couple reasons. And I think the first one is because they really can give a tea drinker that's trying to learn, just get all the different data points, especially with storage, some really important reference points on what different storage can do. As anyone that's drank any amount of Pu-erh would know, Kunming storage is not at all the same as storage in Hong Kong or Guangdong or somewhere else. So it's important just as a reference point. The other reason being that these cakes, similar to the Yunhai non-newel of white tea, really are a lot easier on the stomach, and they're a good break from young raw Pu-erh, but they also don't have, they're also not necessarily as funky or as foreign of a taste as more traditional stored or more aged raw Pu-erh tends to be. So in that sense, they can be a important point as well. So I think there's a lot of different reasons that you can drink these teas, and for me they kind of represent this sort of middle ground of teas that are very easy to drink. Maybe they're not necessarily the most complex all the time, but they can make really good, pleasant daily drinkers. Alright, so the first tea we're going to drink is the 2007 Yiwu tea. And so this tea was stored in Linsong, where it was exposed to a tropical climate for the past 7 years. So it's browned significantly, and it has kind of this nice sort of fruity basic taste. And so I tasted this cake, and I kind of figured it was like at the $35 to $40 range. And I was surprised that this cake was only $22. So you really don't have to spend a ton of money to really just experience these teas. Alright, and so this is on its second steep, and I will give that. And so you can see it's bringing up this nice orangey red color. And the one thing that I'll also note about all of Scott's cakes is that they tend to be very clean. All of his wet stored cakes, you're not going to be hit with an unpleasant surprise of mustiness or anything like that. And I think part of that reflects sort of his background in Kunming, where the type of storage is generally very clean, as opposed to somewhere like Hong Kong. Alright. So, because we are drinking so many teas today, we are going to go ahead and sip away. So, some sweetness. There's still some of that raw Pu-erh youthfulness in it, so you can definitely get this tea a bit astringent or bitter. Very simple, very basic, very drinkable, fruity taste. And I would say the aroma is even better. The aroma kind of smells like tropical fruits, a little bit stone fruity, sort of like the Yunhai non-newel we had a couple weeks ago. So I would definitely recommend this tea for anyone that's on a budget. But if you can afford to spend a little bit more money, I'm going to be drinking the 2004 Phoenix Aroma tea, which Scott also sent. So it's brewing up a very similar color from my point of view. I'm going to finish this guy off. And so this tea was made by the Nanjian Tea Factory, which is a little bit bigger, but it's still nothing like a Dai or a Shaguan, where you're going to be paying a bit of a premium just on the brand. So you're going to avoid that. Similar to the last tea, the base material is from Wuliang and Linsong, two places that are not super hip, like Xishuangbanna, so you're not going to be paying a premium on those leaves. This tea is more expensive at $69, but I think it is, depending on your budget, I think it could definitely be worth the price. So it's sweeter, it's also a lot fuller in body. And interestingly, this tea, I don't know what Phoenix Aroma is. I have no idea. It's kind of strange, always been kind of strange to me that the Chinese nomenclature names stuff that way. But the bag, when I opened it, actually smelled kind of fishy. So I don't know if that's from the tea or if the sample got mildly contaminated. But the tea itself, drinking it here now, is pretty good. It's got a thick, nice body. You could definitely get this tea a little bit astringent and bitter, just like the last tea. But it's just all around better. There's a better texture, a better body. Probably sweeter in general. Alright, and so the last tea that I would like to recommend is a tea that I just got in from a combined order with some friends to Yunnan Sourcing. And so this tea has done the rounds. Unlike the previous two teas, this tea has been around. So this is the 2002 Yiwu Ancient Spirit cake. And so the price has really gone steadily up. I think it sold for $35 a few years back, and now I think it sells for $77 up on their site. And so it kind of fulfills a similar function as these two teas. I think it's a bit better. It has this really, really nice woody, fruity, sweet base that's very, very pleasant and easy to drink as well. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a shot of the wet leaf. So this is the 2007 tea right here. So you can see it's pretty chopped up, and obviously we're not expecting that this tea be from like the emperor's favorite tea trees or whatever the Chinese market is selling these days. And I wouldn't expect the same from the Nanjian either. So here we go. And my hands are all nice and dirty now. So yeah, I definitely recommend giving these two teas a go, even just as reference points or whatnot. And the last thing I'd like to say is that both of these teas, I believe, were recently featured in Scott's Tea of the Month package, which is something that he's started to offer. And I think that's probably why these ended up on my tea table in that package that Scott sent our way, is that these are just a couple of the teas that he offers. And how that basically works is you subscribe to a $30 or $50 plan, and you basically get some tea delivered to your doorstep every month, and the shipping is included within that. So I think that could be, depending on your drinking habits, a good affordable way to just kind of sample through a whole lot of teas that Yunnan Sourcing has without having to go through the trouble of picking out individually some of the teas from their site and then waiting a month or two for the tea to arrive. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think. This is a slightly different format than normal, but thank you guys for watching. Cheers.